Park Min-jun stood before the Galactic Council and felt the weight of every human life pressing down on his shoulders. The chamber was massive, a perfect sphere that floated in orbit above Centrum, the Council's capital world. Seats lined the curved walls in rising circles, each one holding a representative from the 200 species that made up galactic civilization. Every eye in the room was fixed on him. "Ambassador Park," Premier Vethix said from the highest seat. The Premier's voice was cold and smooth, like ice sliding over metal. "You have presented your case for humanity's continued membership in the Council. We have heard your words. Now we will decide." Min-jun nodded slowly. Behind him, Yoon Hae-won shifted slightly. She was his chief advisor and had been his friend for 20 years. He could feel her tension without looking at her. They both knew this would not go well. The voting began. One by one, the council members activated their panels. Green lights meant yes, humanity could stay. Red lights meant no, humanity must leave. Min-jun watched the board fill with color. Red spread across the display like blood in water. A few green lights appeared, scattered and lonely among the crimson tide. When the counting ended, the result was clear. Humanity had lost. "The vote is final," Vethix announced. "Humanity is hereby expelled from the Galactic Council and banished from Council space. You have 60 days to remove all human presence from Council worlds and stations." Min-jun felt his jaw tighten, but he kept his face calm. "May we know the charges against us?" Vethix's face twisted into something that might have been a smile on a human. On the Premier, it looked like a threat. "Your species is too volatile, too emotional. You form dangerous attachments to species weaker than yourselves. 3 times in the past 5 years, human forces have interfered with legitimate Council operations. Those operations were exploiting pre-spaceflight civilizations," Min-jun said quietly. "Species that could not defend themselves. Mining operations that were entirely legal under Council law," Vethix shot back. "You defended primitives who did not even know you existed. You disrupted profitable ventures because of your excessive empathy. This is exactly why you are dangerous." Hae-won stepped forward before Min-jun could respond. "Where will we go?" she asked. "We have 73 colony worlds in Council space. Millions of humans live on mixed-species stations. We need time to evacuate them." "You will go to the void," Vethix said. "The lawless territories beyond our borders. Your people may take whatever ships and resources they currently possess. But you are forbidden from entering Council space after the 60-day grace period ends. Any human vessel that crosses the border will be destroyed." The void. Min-jun had heard of it. Everyone had. It was the name given to the vast region of space beyond the Council's reach. Failed colonies scattered through that darkness. Old stations that had been abandoned when they stopped being profitable. Species that had been used up and thrown away. It was where the Council sent everything it no longer wanted. "We'll need that 60 days, Min-jun said. "Many of our people are deep in Council territory." "You have your time," Vethix said. "Use it wisely. This assembly is concluded." The Council members began leaving their seats. Most avoided looking at Min-jun. A few of the younger species gave him sympathetic glances, but none spoke. They were too afraid. Min-jun understood. He did not blame them. As the chamber emptied, a young Cerelian representative approached. She moved quickly, nervously checking to make sure no one was watching. "Ambassador Park," she whispered. "I voted green. So did others. We tried." "I know," Min-jun said gently. "Thank you for trying." "The void is not empty," the Cerelian continued. Her words came fast, urgent. "There are others there, species the Council abandoned, colonies that failed. They were left to die when they stopped being useful. The Council does not speak of them." Hae-won moved closer. "How many?" she asked. "Dozens of species, maybe hundreds. No one keeps count anymore." The Cerellian looked over her shoulder. "I have to go. I am sorry. I am so sorry." She hurried away, leaving Minjun and Haiwan alone in the vast chamber. "Excessive empathy," Haiwan said bitterly. "They are afraid of us because we care about people." "No," Minjun said slowly. "They are afraid of us because we care about people they want to exploit. We make them look cruel by comparison. It is easier to remove us than to change themselves." "What do we do now?" Minjun turned to look at the empty council chamber. 200 species, and almost all of them had voted to banish humanity. Not because humans were violent or aggressive. Not because humans had started wars or broken treaties, but because humans kept defending those who could not defend themselves. Because humans had looked at the council's victims and decided to help them instead of ignoring them. "We go to the void," Minjun said. "We gather our people, and we decide what kind of civilization we want to be when no one is watching us." "The council will expect us to fail," Haiwan said. "They will expect us to come crawling back, begging for readmission on their terms." A small smile crossed Minjun's face. It was not a happy smile, but it was determined. "Then we will surprise them. The Cerellian said there are others in the void. Abandoned species. Failed colonies. People the council threw away. You want to help them." It was not a question. "The council banished us for defending the weak," Minjun said. "For caring too much. For being too emotional and too protective. If those are our crimes, then we will commit them again and again. We will find everyone the council abandoned, and we will help them. Not because we expect anything in return, but because it is right." Haiwan was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. "The void is large and dark, but we can fill it with light?" "Yes," Minjun agreed. "We can, and we will." They left the council chamber together and began the long journey home. Behind them, Centrum gleamed in the light of its star, proud and beautiful and cold. Ahead of them lay the void, full of darkness and forgotten people. Minjun did not know what they would find there, but he knew what they would bring: hope, kindness, protection for those who needed it. Everything the council had feared about humanity was about to become the galaxy's greatest gift. The colony ship New Dawn drifted through the darkness at the edge of the void. Captain Choi Sung-hee sat in her command chair and watched the sensors paint pictures of what lay ahead. Behind her ship, 17 other human vessels waited for her decision. 50,000 people had volunteered to be the first wave into the void. They had left the safety of council space 3 weeks ago and had not looked back. "Captain," her sensor officer called out, "I'm picking up structures, multiple stations. Some look very old." "Life signs?" Sung-hee asked. "Yes, Captain. Faint but present. I count at least 12 separate installations within scanner range. All of them appear damaged or failing." Kim Jae-sung, her chief engineer, moved to look at the readouts. He was quiet for a moment, studying the data. "These stations are ancient," he said finally. "Some of them use technology I have only seen in museums. They should not still be functioning." "But they are," Sung-hee said, "and someone is keeping them alive. Take us closer to the nearest station, slowly, and broadcast on all frequencies that we come in peace." The New Dawn moved forward. As they approached, the station resolved on the view screen. It was enormous, a spinning wheel of metal that must have been beautiful once. Now it was scarred and patched, held together by repairs that looked desperate. Entire sections were dark, but lights glowed in some of the windows, weak but steady. "I am receiving a transmission," the communications officer said. "Audio only. Very weak signal." "Let me hear it." The speaker crackled. A voice came through, rough and tired and afraid. "Unknown vessel. This is Station Keeper Quillix 7-3. We have no resources to trade, no weapons to fight. Please pass us by. Sung-hee stood up. Station Keeper 7-3, this is Captain Choi Sung-hee of the human vessel New Dawn. We are not here to trade or fight. We are here to help if you need it. Silence. Then the voice returned, confused now. Help? We have nothing to pay you with. We do not want payment, Sung-hee said gently. We want to help. May we dock? More silence. Then, slowly, hesitantly, the station's docking bay doors opened. Sung-hee took Jae-sung and a small team with her. The docking bay was clean but clearly struggling. The air was thin and tasted stale. The lights flickered. Water dripped somewhere in the distance. A figure waited for them at the inner door. It was small, maybe half the height of a human, with smooth blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the weak light. Large eyes watched them nervously. I am Quilix 7-3, the figure said. Its voice was soft, musical. Station Keeper and Elder. You are humans? Yes, Sung-hee said. Your people. Are they Quilix? We are what remains of the Quilix, 7-3 said. Once we numbered in the billions. Our homeworld was beautiful. Ocean covered most of it, and we swam in warm waters under gentle suns. Then the council found us. They said they would help us reach the stars. They said they were our friends. The elder's voice grew bitter. They lied. They wanted the rare minerals dissolved in our oceans. They drained our world, took the water, processed it, stripped everything valuable from it. When they were finished, our planet was dry rock. Millions died in the draining. Those of us who survived were given these old stations and told to be grateful. That was 70 years ago. Every year, more stations fail. Every year, fewer of us survive. Sung-hee felt anger burning in her chest. This was why the council had banished humanity. Because humans would have stopped this. Because humans would have fought to protect the Quilix. How many of you are left? She asked quietly. On this station? 300? Across all the Quilix stations in the void? Perhaps 20,000? We were once billions. Jae-sung was already scanning the station's systems with his portable equipment. Captain, he said urgently, the life support is failing. The reactor is running on minimum power. Water recycling is at 30% efficiency. This station will not last another year. 7-3 looked at the floor. We know. We have always known. We simply did not have anywhere else to go. Sung-hee made her decision. We can fix this. My engineer and his teams can repair your systems. We have spare parts, new reactors, water supplies. We can make this station work again. Why? 7-3 looked up, and those large eyes were full of confusion and desperate hope. The council said humans were dangerous, that you were volatile and violent. Why would you help us? Because it is the right thing to do, Sung-hee said simply. And because the council was wrong about what makes us dangerous. They feared we would choose you over them. They were right to fear that. We do choose you. Tears ran down 7-3's face. No one has chosen us for 70 years. Jae-sung was already pulling equipment from his pack. I need access to your reactor core and life support systems. We will start repairs immediately. Over the next 3 days, the human fleet spread through the void. Each ship found more stations, more refugees, more species that the council had abandoned. The Thornbacks, who had been quarantined on failing orbital platforms after a plague that council scientists had accidentally introduced. The Kelmar, whose colony ships had been given faulty navigation data and ended up stranded. The Yethrin, who had refused to surrender their mineral rights and had been cut off from all trade. Dozens of species, hundreds of thousands of lives hanging by threads, and humans helped all of them. Jae-sung's engineering teams worked around the clock, repairing reactors and life support systems. Medical teams treated illnesses that had gone untended for decades. Supply ships distributed food and water and medicine. Human teachers began sharing knowledge, showing refugees how to maintain the repairs, how to grow food in station hydroponics bays, how to purify water more efficiently. On the 5th day, Sung-hee received a message from the Quilix elder. "Captain Choi, you should see this." She took a shuttle to 7-3's station. The elder met her at the docking bay, but this time the air was clean and fresh. The lights were steady and bright. Water no longer dripped from failing pipes. The station hummed with healthy power. 7-3 led her to a gathering chamber. It was full of Quilix, hundreds of them. They stood when Sung-hee entered, and then they began to sing. It was beautiful and sad and full of hope. Sung-hee did not understand the words, but she understood the meaning. It was a song of gratitude. When the song ended, 7-3 spoke to the crowd. "This human and her people have given us what the Council never did. Not just repairs, not just supplies. They have given us hope. They have shown us we are not forgotten. They have proven that kindness still exists in this galaxy." The elder turned to Sung-hee. "The Council will hear of this. They will know that humans are helping us. They may see it as a threat." Sung-hee smiled. "Let them see it as they wish. We know what we are doing is right, and we will not stop. Every species in the void will know that humans came when they were needed. We will build something here, something better than what the Council created. We will build it together." Word spread fast through the void. Within weeks, more refugees began seeking out human ships. More stations called for help, and every time humans answered. They asked for nothing in return. They simply helped because they could, because it was right, because this was who humanity chose to be. The Council had banished humans to the darkness, expecting them to fade away. Instead, humans began lighting fires in the void. Small flames of hope that grew brighter every day. 2 years had passed since humanity entered the void. Lee Soo-jin stood in the command center of what used to be a dying station and looked at the display showing the network they had built. Lines of light connected hundreds of points across the darkness. Each point was a station or settlement. Each line was a trade route or communication link. The void was no longer empty. It was alive. "The supply run to the Thornback settlements is complete," her logistics officer reported. "They sent back medical supplies and agricultural data in exchange. The Kelmar are requesting engineering assistance with their new mining operation. They want to make sure they do it sustainably." Soo-jin smiled at that word. Sustainable. It was something the Council had never cared about. The Council took what they wanted and moved on. But in the void, everything was different. Every species that joined the network contributed what they could and took only what they needed. There were no exploitation quotas, no forced labor, no strip mining of worlds, just cooperation. "Send Team 7 to help the Kelmar," Soo-jin said, "and make sure they include Quilix water management specialists. The Kelmar's new colony has 3 oceans. The Quilix can teach them how to preserve them." Understood. Han Ji-woo entered the command center. He had been a peacekeeper for the Council once, before humanity's banishment. Now he ran security for the entire Void network. But his job was not to control people. It was to protect them. "We have a situation," Ji-woo said quietly. Long-range sensors picked up Council vessels approaching the border. 5 warships. They crossed into the void 30 minutes ago and are heading straight for us. Soo-jin felt her stomach tighten. They had known this might come. The Council had been watching the void for months now, watching as the refugees they had abandoned began to thrive. Watching as human organization turned chaos into community. The Council's merchant guilds had been complaining about losing profits. Void goods were better made, cheaper, and came without the taint of exploitation. More and more Council citizens were buying from Void traders instead of their own merchants. "How long until they arrive?" Soo-jin asked. 14 hours at their current speed. "Call a network council meeting. We need to decide how to respond. 4 hours later, Su Jin sat in a conference room with representatives from 20 species. Quilix Elder 7-3 was there, along with Thornback clan leader Kethrix and Kelmar expedition chief Morna. Dozens of others filled the room, either in person or through holographic projection. All of them looked worried. "The council is coming," Su Jin said without preamble. 5 warships. We can assume they are not here for friendly conversation. We need to decide how we respond. "Fight them," Kethrix growled. The Thornback was large and covered in thick natural armor. His species had learned to be aggressive after the council betrayed them. "We have ships now, weapons. We can defend ourselves." "We could fight," Jiwoo agreed, "but fighting makes us like them. It proves what the council said about us being dangerous." "Then what do you suggest?" Morna asked. Her voice was calm but strained. "Let them take everything we have built?" 7-3 spoke softly. "May I share a thought?" Everyone turned to look at the small Quilix elder. 2 years ago, we were dying. All of us, Quilix, Thornback, Kelmar, all the species in this room. We had given up hope. Then humans came. They did not come with weapons and demands. They came with repairs and kindness. They showed us a different way. The elder looked at Su Jin. "Perhaps we should show the council what you showed us. Not weapons, not threats, but the truth of what we have built here." Understanding dawned on Su Jin's face. "You are right. We have nothing to hide. We have committed no crimes. We have only helped people who needed help. Let the galaxy see that." Jiwoo caught on quickly. "We broadcast everything. Open transmission on all frequencies. We show them the stations we repaired, the species we saved, the community we built. We let the council explain to their own people why they want to destroy this." "It is risky," Kethrix said, but he was nodding slowly. "But it might work. The council fears looking cruel. If we make them explain their cruelty in public, they may back down. Or they may attack anyway," Morna pointed out. "Then we defend ourselves," Su Jin said, "but only to defend. We do not attack first. We do not make threats. We simply show the truth and let the galaxy decide what it means." The vote was unanimous. They would broadcast everything. 14 hours later, the council warships arrived at the network's central hub. The lead ship sent a message. Su Jin recognized the voice. Premier Vethix. "Attention Void Settlements. You are operating in violation of Council authority. This region is designated for Council resource extraction. You will disperse immediately and surrender all facilities to Council control. You have 1 hour to comply." Su Jin took a deep breath and activated the broadcast system. Not just to the council ships, to every receiver in council space, to every planet, every station, every ship, billions of beings across hundreds of worlds would hear this. "Premier Vethix, this is Lee Su Jin, coordinator of the Void Network. We are not operating in violation of any authority. The council banished us to this region and told us never to return to your space. We have obeyed that command. We have not crossed your borders. We have not threatened your worlds. We have simply helped people who needed help." She paused, then continued. 2 years ago, humans came to the Void and found dozens of species the Council had abandoned. Quilix, whose world was drained. Thornbacks left to die after plague. Kelmar stranded with broken ships. Hundreds of thousands of beings suffering because they were no longer useful to the Council. So, we helped them. We repaired their stations. We shared our food and medicine. We taught them how to sustain themselves. The display showed the footage they had prepared. Jae Sung's teams repairing the Quilix stations. Human doctors treating Thornback plague victims. Engineers teaching the Kelmar sustainable mining. Children of a dozen species learning together in schools humans had built. Markets where people traded freely without exploitation. Stations that gleamed with new life. "This is the Void Network," Su Jin continued. A community built on cooperation instead of exploitation, on protecting the weak instead of using them, on sharing instead of taking. Every species here chose to join us. No one was forced. No one was threatened. We simply offered a different way of living. She looked directly at the camera, knowing Vethix could see her. You banished humanity because we defended those you wanted to exploit. You said we were too emotional, too protective, too dangerous. You were right to fear us, but not because we are violent. You feared us because we make you look cruel by comparison. Because when people see what we have built here, they will ask why the Council never built the same. They will ask why you abandoned these species instead of helping them. They will ask why profit matters more than lives. Across Council space, beings watched. On thousands of worlds, millions of people saw the footage. They saw the suffering the Council had caused. They saw the hope humanity had brought. They saw what cooperation could build. On the Council ships, Vethix watched too. And the Premier knew that everything had changed. If the Council attacked now, they would look like monsters. But if they backed down, they would look weak. There was no good choice. You have overstepped, Vethix said coldly. You are not a government. You have no authority. We do not need authority to be kind, Sujin replied. We do not need permission to help people, and we will not stop. If you attack us, you attack refugees and orphans and people who have already suffered too much. Let the galaxy watch you do it. Let them see what the Council truly values. Jiwoo's voice came through her earpiece. We are receiving thousands of messages from Council space. Citizens demanding the Council stand down. Protests starting on multiple worlds. Several younger species are threatening to leave the Council and join us. Sujin waited. The Council ships held position. Minutes stretched into hours, and finally, Vethix spoke again. This is not over. The ships turned and left. All across the Void network, beings celebrated. They had stood up to the Council without violence. They had won by showing the truth, and the galaxy had seen what was possible when compassion mattered more than profit. Commander Quan Tai Hyun watched the approaching fleet on his tactical display and felt pride mixed with worry. Behind him, 300 ships waited in defensive formation along the border between the Void and Council space. The fleet was not purely human anymore. Quilix water ships flew alongside human cruisers. Thornback defense platforms anchored key positions. Kelmar mining vessels, converted to carry defensive weapons, held the flanks. Species that had been refugees 2 years ago now stood ready to defend their new home. But the Council was coming with power, 50 warships, maybe more behind those, and they were not here to talk this time. Sir, we are receiving a transmission, his communications officer reported, from the lead Council ship. Put it through. Premier Vethix appeared on the view screen. The Council leader looked older than Tae-hyun remembered, more tired, more angry. Commander Quan, your little rebellion has gone on long enough. 3 months ago, my fleet left without conflict because I believed reason would prevail. Instead, you have encouraged more species to abandon the Council. 17 members have left to join your network. Our economy is suffering. Our authority is being questioned. This ends today. Surrender the Void network to Council control, or we will take it by force. Before Tae-hyun could respond, another figure appeared on a second screen. Park Min-jun. The former ambassador looked calm and determined. Premier Vethix, Min-jun said. I represent the Alliance of Free Worlds. That is what we call ourselves now. Not a rebellion, not a network, an alliance of equals. Every species that joins us does so freely. Every voice has equal weight. We have no rulers, only coordinators who serve. You are criminals, Vethix snapped. You have stolen Council resources and turned our members against us. We have stolen nothing, Min-jun replied. The stations we repaired were abandoned. The species we helped were left to die. As for your members leaving, perhaps you should ask why they chose to go. Perhaps you should ask what the Council did to make them prefer exile with us over membership with you." Tae-hyun watched Vethix's face darken with rage. Behind the Premier, he could see other Council members. Some looked angry, others looked uncomfortable. A few younger representatives looked guilty. "You will submit to Council authority," Vethix demanded. "This region of space is subject to Council jurisdiction." "Under what law?" Min-jun asked. "You banished us here. You told us never to return to Council space. You said the void was lawless territory beyond your borders. Now you claim jurisdiction when we make something of value here. You only want authority over what we have built because we built it well." Yoon Hai-won appeared beside Min-jun on the screen. "We have a proposal, Premier, one that serves everyone's interests. The Alliance will remain independent. We will govern ourselves according to our principles. But we will open trade with the Council on fair terms. Equal exchange, no exploitation, no forced quotas, just honest commerce between equals." "The Council does not negotiate with rebels," Vethix said coldly. "Then you leave us no choice," Tae-hyun said quietly. "We will defend ourselves, but we will not attack first. If you open fire on refugees and orphans and beings who have already suffered too much at Council hands, let the galaxy watch you do it." He nodded to his communications officer. The broadcast began again. Every screen in Council space showed the border, showed the Council fleet advancing on the Alliance defenders, showed the defensive positions holding firm, and across Council space, beings watched. In homes and offices and public squares, billions of eyes turned to the broadcast. They saw the 50 Council warships bearing down on a defensive line made up of former refugees. They saw humans standing alongside Quilix and Thornback and Kelmar and dozens of other species. They saw a community preparing to defend itself against the organization that had abandoned them. Protests erupted immediately. On the Council homeworlds, citizens poured into the streets. On younger member worlds, entire governments threatened to leave if the Council attacked. On Centrum itself, the capital world, crowds surrounded the government buildings and demanded the fleet stand down. Vethix saw it all. The Premier watched the screens showing the protests, watched the messages flooding in from Council worlds, watched as the authority of the Council crumbled in real time. "You are destroying us," Vethix said, and for the first time the Premier's voice held something other than cold confidence. It held fear. "We are showing the galaxy what you built," Min-jun said gently. "An organization based on exploitation and profit, where the strong use the weak and throw them away when they are no longer useful. You created the void, Premier. You filled it with the species you abandoned. All we did was help them survive. All we did was show that another way was possible." A new voice came over the comm. It was young and uncertain, a Sorelian accent. "Premier Vethix, this is Representative Kellis. I am speaking on behalf of 47 Council members. We demand you recall the fleet immediately. The Council citizens will not support an attack on refugees. You must negotiate with the Alliance." Other voices joined in. Representatives from across the Council, all saying the same thing. Stand down. Negotiate. Find peace. Vethix looked at Min-jun with pure hatred. "You have won, for now. But this is not over, human. You have made an enemy of the Council." "No," Min-jun said softly. "We made the Council face what it had become. Whether that makes us enemies or catalysts for change is up to you." The Council fleet held position for another hour. Then, slowly, they began to turn away. Tae-hyun watched them go and felt tension drain from his shoulders. Around him, his bridge crew erupted in quiet celebration. Outside, across the Alliance fleet, beings rejoiced. But Min-jun's face on the screen remained serious. "This is only the beginning. The Council will not forgive this easily," Vethix will try again. We need to be ready. We will be, Taehyun promised. But we will be ready our way. We will defend, but we will not attack. We will protect, but we will not conquer. We will show the galaxy that strength does not require cruelty. Haewon smiled. The council thought they were banishing us to the void to die. Instead, we turned the void into a beacon. Every species they abandoned, we saved. Every station they left to fail, we repaired. Every being they considered worthless, we gave worth to. And now, Minjun added, the council members themselves are looking at what we built and asking why their own organization never did the same. They are asking why profit matters more than people. They are asking if there is a better way. Across the alliance, the celebration continued. But the leaders knew the truth. This was not the end. It was barely the beginning. The council would come again. But next time, they would come with different tactics. Economic pressure, political manipulation, subtle undermining instead of direct attack. But the alliance had something the council did not understand. They had trust. They had cooperation. They had beings from dozens of species working together, not because they were forced to, but because they wanted to. They had proven that compassion could build something stronger than exploitation ever could. In the void, on stations that had once been dying and abandoned, beings celebrated their victory. They danced and sang and shared food across species lines. Children who had grown up knowing only desperation now played together with hope in their eyes. Elders who had lost everything now had communities again. And watching over it all, human coordinators and their alien partners planned for the future. They built schools and hospitals. They established trade routes and communication networks. They created laws based on protection and fairness instead of profit and control. The council had tried to erase humanity by banishing them. Instead, they had unleashed humanity's greatest strength, the ability to see suffering and choose to help, the willingness to stand with the weak against the powerful, the determination to build something better, no matter how dark the void around them. Vethix had called them dangerous. The Premier was right, but not in the way the council had feared. Humanity was dangerous because they proved that another way was possible. And that was the most dangerous idea of all to those who profited from the old way. The void was no longer empty. It was full of light and hope and beings who had learned that kindness was stronger than cruelty. And that light was spreading, reaching into the darkness of council space, showing beings there what was possible when people cared more about each other than about profit. The galaxy would never be the same. 6 months after the standoff, Park Min-jun walked through the halls of what had once been a dying station and marveled at what it had become. The Alliance capital was a former Quilix refugee platform that had been 20 years past its expected lifespan when humans first found it. Now it gleamed with life. Gardens grew in sections that had been dark. Water fountains played in chambers that had been bone dry. Beings from over 100 species walked the corridors together, talking and laughing and planning. The first Alliance assembly was about to begin. Representatives from every member species had gathered, not to be ruled, but to coordinate, not to take orders, but to share ideas. It was democracy on a scale the galaxy had never seen, every voice equal, every species respected. Min-jun took his place at the circular table. There was no head position, no premier's throne, just chairs arranged in a perfect circle. Beside him sat Quilix Elder 7-3. On his other side, Thornback clan leader Kethrix. Around the circle, dozens of beings who had once been refugees now sat as leaders of a new civilization. Yoon Haewon stood to open the assembly. She had designed the framework that made this possible, a system where former enemies could work together, where the strong protected the weak instead of exploiting them, where profit was balanced with compassion. "Welcome to the First Alliance Assembly," HFY said. Her voice carried through the chamber and was translated into 100 languages simultaneously. 6 months ago, the Council tried to force us back under their authority. We stood firm. We showed them and the galaxy what we had built. Since then, everything has changed. She activated the display. It showed the galactic map. Half the former Council territory was now marked in different colors. Blue for Alliance worlds, yellow for neutral systems, red for the remaining Council space. 53 species have left the Council to join us, HFY continued. Another 20 are in negotiation. The Council's economy is struggling. Their trade routes are failing. Their authority is questioned on every world. But we face challenges too. Former Council worlds are having difficulty adjusting to Alliance principles. They are used to hierarchy, used to exploitation being normal. We must help them learn a new way. A representative from one of the newer Alliance members stood. She was from the Tethric species, who had joined only 3 weeks ago. My people struggle with the concept of equal trade. For 200 years, the Council taught us to squeeze maximum profit from every transaction. Now the Alliance asks us to trade fairly, even when we could demand more. It feels wrong to us, even though we know it is right. Kim Jae-sung, now the Alliance's chief infrastructure coordinator, spoke up. This is normal. The Quilix felt the same when they first learned we would repair their stations without demanding payment. The Thornbacks could not believe we would share medical knowledge freely. Every species goes through this adjustment. You are not alone. 7-3 added gently. The Council taught all of us that kindness was weakness, that caring was foolish, that the only thing that mattered was power and profit. It takes time to unlearn those lessons. Be patient with yourselves. We were. Min-jun watched the discussion unfold. This was what the Alliance was about. Not perfect beings who had all the answers. Just people trying to do better. Trying to build something kinder than what had come before. Making mistakes and learning from them together. What about Centrum? Another representative asked. The Council capital is on the verge of economic collapse. Their extraction-based economy is failing now that so many species have left. Do we help them or let them fail? The chamber fell silent. Centrum, the jewel of the Council. The world that had voted to banish humanity. The place where Premier Vethix still ruled over a shrinking empire. Every being in the room had reason to hate Centrum. The Council had hurt all of them. Min-jun stood slowly. May I speak to this? HFY nodded. 3 years ago, Min-jun began, I stood in the Council chamber and watched them vote to banish humanity. They called us dangerous, too emotional, too protective of the weak. They sent us to the void expecting us to die. Instead, we thrived. We helped everyone the Council abandoned. We built something beautiful from their garbage. He paused, looking around the circle. Now the Council is suffering the consequences of their own cruelty. Their economy is failing because it was built on exploitation. Their members are leaving because they were never truly wanted, only used. Centrum is collapsing because it never learned to create value, only to take it from others. So we should let them fail, Kethrix growled. Let them feel what we felt when they abandoned us. No, Min-jun said softly, because that would make us like them. The Council abandoned people when they stopped being useful. Are we really better if we do the same? They need help now. They need to learn how to build an economy based on cooperation instead of exploitation. If we turn away from them, we prove that everything they said about us was right. We prove that we are only kind to people who are kind to us first. 7-3 stood beside Min-jun. The human is right. When we were dying on failing stations, humans did not ask if we deserved help. They did not ask if we had been kind in the past. They simply helped us because we needed help. That is what separates the Alliance from the Council. We help those who need it, even when they do not deserve it. The debate continued for hours. Some representatives argued for letting the Council fail. Others argued for conditional help. Still others wanted to invite Centrum to join the alliance immediately. Finally, Haywan called for a vote. The decision was narrow but clear. The alliance would offer help to Centrum and the remaining council worlds, but not as conquerors, not as rulers, as teachers. They would show former council species how to build sustainable economies, how to trade fairly, how to cooperate instead of exploit. The council could join the alliance as equals whenever they were ready, no demands, no conditions, just an open door. 2 weeks later, a small ship from Centrum arrived at the alliance capital. Premier Vethix stepped out, and Min Jun was there to meet the premier. Vethix looked old and tired. The weight of the council's collapse showed in every movement. "I have come to discuss terms," Vethix said stiffly. "There are no terms," Min Jun replied. "Only an invitation. Centrum can join the alliance whenever you choose, as equals. Your people will have the same voice as everyone else. No more, no less." "Why?" Vethix asked, and the question held genuine confusion. "After everything the council did to you, after we banished you and tried to destroy what you built, why would you help us?" Min Jun smiled sadly. "Because you need help, and because helping those who need it is what we do. The council feared that about humanity. You were right to fear it, but not because it makes us violent or aggressive. You should have feared it because it makes us different from you. It makes us build communities instead of empires. It makes us protect instead of exploit." He gestured to the station around them. 3 years ago, this place was dying. The Quilix who lived here were waiting to die. The council had abandoned them decades before. Now look at it. Gardens, fountains, children playing, life thriving. We did not do that alone. We did it together. Humans and Quilix and Thornback and Kelmar and dozens of other species working as equals. "You are saying the council can be part of this?" Vethix asked quietly. "Yes, but you have to choose it. You have to be willing to give up control. To work as equals with species you once ruled over. To share instead of take. To protect instead of exploit. Can you do that?" Vethix was quiet for a long time. Then slowly, the premier nodded. "I do not know, but I am willing to try. My people are suffering. The old way failed them. Maybe your way is better." "Not my way," Min Jun corrected gently. "Our way. That is what the alliance is. Not humans ruling over others, but all of us working together, learning from each other, protecting each other." 3 months later, the Second Alliance Assembly gathered. This time, representatives from Centrum sat in the circle. Former council worlds that had resisted joining now sent diplomats to observe. The alliance had grown to include 80 species. What had started as refugees in the void was now the largest political organization in the galaxy. Li Su-jin presented the latest reports. Alliance trade was thriving. Technology sharing had advanced every member species. Medical breakthroughs from combined research were saving millions of lives. Agricultural techniques developed by cooperation meant no alliance world went hungry. The economy grew not through exploitation, but through genuine value creation. "We have proven something important," Su-jin said. "We have proven that compassion is not weakness, that protecting the vulnerable makes everyone stronger. That cooperation creates more wealth than competition. The Council spent centuries teaching the galaxy that only the strong deserve to survive. We have shown them that the strong are those who help others survive." After the assembly, Yunhai Wan found Min Jun standing alone, looking out a window at the stars. Young Quilix swam in a water feature nearby. Thornback children played with human and Kelmar youth. Beings from dozens of species walked past, talking and laughing together. "Did you ever imagine this?" Haywan asked. "When we were banished 3 years ago, did you think we would end up here?" Min Jun smiled. I knew we would do something. I knew we would help people. But this? He gestured at the thriving station. This is bigger than anything I imagined. We did not just survive the void, we transformed it. We took the darkness the Council created and filled it with light. And now that light is spreading back into Council space, HFY said. Former Council worlds are learning our ways. They are discovering that caring for each other creates better lives than competing with each other. The Council was right about one thing, Min-jun said thoughtfully. We were dangerous. We were a threat to their way of life. Because we proved that another way was possible. We proved that you do not need to exploit people to thrive. That kindness can build civilizations. That protecting the weak makes everyone strong. A young Quillix approached them shyly. It was one of 7-3's grandchildren, born after the station's repair. She had never known hunger or failing life support or the despair of abandonment. She only knew the alliance. She only knew cooperation and kindness. Ambassador Park? The child asked. Is it true that you were banished here? That the Council sent you away? Yes, Min-jun said gently. They called us dangerous and sent us to the void. I am glad they did, the child said, because you came here and saved us. You taught everyone that being kind is better than being strong. After she left, HFY looked at Min-jun. Out of the mouths of children, the Council thought they were punishing us. Instead, they set us free to become what we were meant to be. Yes, Min-jun agreed. They banished us to the void, and we seized it. We made it ours. Not through conquest, not through force, but through compassion. And now the whole galaxy is learning from us. He smiled at the stars beyond the window. The void was no longer dark. It was filled with lights, stations and ships and settlements, each one a home to beings who had been forgotten and were now thriving, each one proof that humanity's greatest strength was not technology or weapons or intelligence. It was the simple choice to help those who needed help, to stand with the weak against the strong, to build something better than what came before. The Council had feared that strength. They had banished humanity to destroy it. Instead, they had unleashed it on the galaxy, and nothing would ever be the same.